Notts County Talk, we are live for yet another preview. If my math is correct, George, it's 9 games to go, isn't it now, until the end of the season?
Crunch time.
Much improved performance, massively improved on Saturday against Torquay. You know, as soon as they went down to 10 men, everyone surely thought we'll shut up shop. We're not going to concede to 10 men, and we just seemed to slip back. And we said that in the discussion. That's the lack of confidence, isn't it? So, you know, massively improved performance. And how do you feel going into this another big game against Eastleigh?
I feel confident, actually. I think if the players can take the confidence from the majority of the Torquay game, which we did play very well, I thought. We created plenty of chances. If we can bring that forward and sort of work on, I mean, it's not going to happen within a few days, is it? Because it's been troubling us for a couple of years now, the set piece problem. You know, if we can sort of just shunter that out a little bit, I can't see why we can't beat Eastleigh. But, you know, you look at the run Eastleigh are on, and they are doing all right at the moment, aren't they?
Yeah,
considering the last team that they did beat.
Yeah, we'll get into that in a second. So if you join us tonight, we're trying to answer as many questions as possible, so just get them sent in. We'll answer literally as many as we can, and hopefully, you know, get some positivity surrounding what's going to be on Tuesday night. So let's have a look at the two teams. Notts are 9th, Eastleigh are 10th. 53 points for us, 53 points for Eastleigh. Eastleigh have played 2 games more than Notts, as have most teams. I know those extra games are sort of creeping up now, and we're sort of getting level with a few. But Eastleigh, although they're on the same points, they've played 2 more than us. Now, you just alluded to that, George. They won 1-0, didn't they, last night? I think it was a late game against Sutton. That's a big result, massive result.
Yeah, very big result that, isn't it, really, when you look at it?
It is sort of, it's made the race for first. It's a 3-way race now, isn't it?
Wide open, yeah. We're still in it, though.
George, we're not. Your optimism, it literally hurts me.
I'm joking.
It literally hurts me. So they've gone and beat Sutton, who you know, we've said they'll probably falter. I think they will. I think Torquay and Hartlepool are the strongest teams. I think still Hartlepool are the stronger team because we played really well against Torquay and came away 2-2. We had no chance really against Hartlepool, did we? So I think, to be fair, I think it's Hartlepool's to lose now, and it just depends on momentum. And I don't know the running of the other teams, but I know we've played bar Sutton, we've played those top 3 twice. So should be interesting. They have 1 loss in their last 5. And this is a really interesting stat I've come across. In their last 6 games, only 1 side has scored. So whether they've won or lost, you know, one side has got the goal. So that showed against us. We lost 1-0. Sort of suggests that if we can get a goal early, you know, or get a goal, get in front, will they have the resilience to get back?
That tells the story, I think, that, doesn't it?
Yeah.
The style, but yeah.
100%. They're a tough team to break down. They've actually conceded, I think it's 33 goals this season. I think Notts have conceded 32, roughly, something like that. So they're a very defensive side. And it's going to take a lot for us to break them down, because we'll talk about some individual players now. We've just been speaking before this, talking about trying to score past Eastleigh and break them down. 10 league games, Carlton has not scored a goal in. Now, that stat actually shocked me.
Yeah, well, we wrote it down, didn't we, as 11, but then we remember they obviously had that suspension in between somewhere. But yeah, I couldn't believe it. It's quite mind-boggling, really, because, I mean, he's obviously had a bit of a dry spell recently, hasn't he? But it doesn't feel like it's been that long since he scored.
No, it's
2nd of March or something like that.
2nd of March, 2 goals, 2 very undeserved goals by Notts' performance that day against Kings Lynn at home. But you know what? I did not think that it would be 10 league games without a goal for Carlton. That's more than a drought, isn't it? That's serious concerns for.
Yeah, definitely.
And within that, he's missed some absolute sitters.
Yeah. Near on most games he plays, he seems to be missing, you know, quite clear chances at the moment. So it is concerning. I think Ardley leaving has had an impact on Wharton 100%.
You think?
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
But he's still Birchnell's main striker, so...
Yeah, but I just think sometimes you can't control that sort of side of the emotion. Like, even as Wootton, he's probably sort of over it. I think subconsciously things can affect a player, and it might not be at the forefront of his mind, but I think things like that can throw you a little bit when it's like the change of management and stuff like that. And it might just be a case of him adjusting to it a little bit better. But we've said it. I think we said it on the preview for the game at the weekend. He is a good player. Like, we all know he's a good player. He's just having a bit of a dry spell at the moment and a bit of a rough patch where he can't seem to find the back of the net. But I'm sure as soon as he does, he'll be back at it.
Yeah, I mean, Chris has said here he's hoping that once goals are like buses, 3 come at once on Tuesday. It could well be that. It could well happen. I do think he just needs that. He just needs one goal.
Yeah.
Regardless, one goal, and he could be backfiring. And strikers of Wootton's caliber, they will have a dry spell every season. Every striker, barely any strikers will continually score throughout the season, like consistently. That's why they're in this division. But Kyle Wootton, he'll get back to the goals pretty well. The problem with resting him is that no striker breaks a dry spell in the stands. Yeah, 100%. He needs to be played into form. He was so much better on... When was it? He was so much better on the most recent game against Torquay. He held the ball up really well.
Sorry about that. I got through to
there. Was just saying that he was so much better against Torquay, wasn't he, Wootton? He held the ball up well. He made more runs. He looked more energetic. He looked like he'd been sort of... I don't know whether he's happy that he's got a partner up front, an out partner up front, because at the minute he's been playing sort of one up top, Knight or Knowles either side. And if you really, really break it down, the 2 players that were playing wide of him were strikers played as wingers, and they just fit in that position because they were fast. Now he's got an actual player up top with him that he can play off, because he thrives up top with Dennis and Thomas. Thrive.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, I think as well. I mean, we talk about it a lot, but it's been the crucial part that we've missed. I think his partnership with Thomas, and then obviously off the bench, Dennis. We've really missed that, and you can't underestimate Knowles. Because I mean, he scored quite a few. I don't know his actual figures off the top of my head. I was meant to have a look before this preview, but when you look, he must be up there now. He's scored a good few goals this season, hasn't he? So, you can't turn a blind eye to Knowles, but I think with him, a lot of the way he's playing at the moment, it's like he's learning the game still. Whereas Dennis and Thomas, their game management and stuff like that will pretty much be as good as it's going to get for them now, because they're towards. I mean, more so Thomas really than Dennis, because I think Dennis is 28. Thomas was sort of 31, 32, isn't he? You look at Knowles, he's still a teenager, isn't he? So there's obviously going to be more coming into Knowles' game, but I still think he's a good partner for Wootton, no doubt about it. But I don't think it's to the same level as Dennis and Thomas by any stretch.
Yeah, interesting point here brought in by Anthony. He says Wootton's dry spell is partially due to the ball being up the end of the pitch for too long. We've said that all season. Not should be the team on the front foot every single game, bar maybe Hartlepool away and Stockport away, those maybe a couple of games. But even when you play teams like Torquay away, Notts have on paper the quality to be a side that dominates games for at least 60 minutes. Now, I get what Anthony's saying here. If it's like the back end of last season when we were picking teams apart and dominating, Eastleigh 4-0 at home comes to mind, Wootton will get the chances to score.
100%.
And
the thing that's concerning for me, sorry Tom, about this dry spell though, is the sitters that he's missing.
Yeah, but in his defence, if you're getting one chance a game,
and
at the minute you're getting one chance a game, you're desperate to score that. Whereas in other games where he scored, we probably haven't in the past. We probably haven't thought. He's probably not thought, "Wow, this is my only chance." He's probably thought, "I'll get 2 or 3 more this game," so the pressure's not on him as much. And if he does miss 3 good chances and then scores 1, you sort of forget about chances he's missed. But it is definitely, everything's just coming at the wrong time at the minute. That one he missed against Hartlepool, we then go on and lose the game, and things are just it's just like a cocktail of things gone wrong.
He's left with more to do now as well. Whereas I think Richard said it from Notts County Stats when we've had him on a couple of the previews. Thomas did do quite a lot of the dirty work, didn't he, for Warren? Like a few goals spring to mind where he's just chasing lost causes and it's ended up in a goal. There's not a player like that on the pitch anymore for Wharton. So he's having to sort of pick up those loose ends while still having to keep up with scoring the goals. So it's very difficult for him, I think.
100%. Bringing this comment from Max, saying that he's still confident we can beat Eastleigh. I am confident we can beat Eastleigh. You know, if we'd have been sat here and Torquay had scored a late winner against us, massively different. But it was very, very disappointing. It was unbelievably disappointing to concede to 10 men in the 97th, 98th minute from the ball going a millimetre over the line.
Yeah.
But there's something that we haven't really seen under Birch, and I'll say it was a good performance up until their goal. 75 minutes.
100%. Yeah, I think we pretty much controlled the game. I think it's fair to say that. The first half, especially, not seen us create that many chances for a while, I don't think.
Yeah. But it makes you wonder. I know there's a lot of talk about the midfielders and what's happened to Ruben Rodriguez. I wanted to brush on that point because do you feel like if we have Rodriguez in that midfield, I mean, all three played really well against Torquay, I thought. I know you gave some good ratings for Reeves, Doyle and O'Brien. Where does Rodriguez fit into that? Because I think with him on the pitch, you create more chances, but what do you sacrifice by not having him?
Exactly, and that is the problem with Rodriguez, I think. There's so many players where you can sort of put on sort of to a risk. Do you know what I mean? I think with O'Brien at the moment, he's been fantastic. Just in every aspect. I think he covers well and he can always drive an attack. He's not afraid to run at people with the ball either. And I think that is a problem for Notts, especially with the style of play that we have at the moment, where it's like if pressure's on you, just pass the ball, and 9 times out of 10 it's backwards, isn't it, or sideways. So I think he sort of brings that positivity. But it's more the formation for me. If it was a different formation, I think he fits in a lot easier. Because you will obviously, if we were going for the one that we like, the 4-2-3-1, you've got the two sort of defending midfielders in Reeves and Doyle, and then you've sort of got three then where you can put two wingers in and then like an attacking midfielder like Rodriguez. But with this formation, it doesn't really adhere to his capabilities, I don't think, especially with the squad we have as well.
Another player I've got to talk about. This formation looks settled with a 5 at the back. I think that's it now. I'd be surprised if we changed it up for the rest of the season. Watch us go and play a 4-3-3 or something on Tuesday, but I'd be very surprised if we change it. That means looking at a playoff push, can we leave Enzio out for the last 9 games? Because how is he slotting into this? I know Mitch said on the discussion he would like Enzio to play off Wharton, and the more I've thought about it, I personally wouldn't like to see that. I think you've got, if Enzio's up here standard-wise on the wing, his ability as a wing-back was here. I don't think he's not as good as Knowles would be as a striker. I think you lose a bit of what Enzio's good at, because once you start playing him as a striker down the middle, you lose that cutting in aspect of him and running at defenders. But then if you tell him to play wide, you've not got 2 up top again. So we can't go the last 9 games without Enzio starting, surely.
You'd like to think not, because I mean, on paper, on every form possible of looking at him as a player, he is one of Notts' best players, and his ability to just pick up the ball and create something, very much like O'Brien, where he's just running at players. It's effective for us. So it'd be a shame, like, if he's not sort of fitting into this model and Bertram doesn't favour him, because I think he's great, isn't he? But I don't know, like I agree with you. I can't really see the formation changing. So there's so many questions. There's a few other players in there as well, like Eli Sam. I know there's a lot of Notts fans that would make a case for him not being good enough or etc. But I think he is. Like, he just has that moment of special where he'll do something fantastic, like that goal that could win a Puskas.
It will win a Puskas. It's that good.
Yeah. But then I mean, on the flip side, which I'm sure not as many people will be concerned about, is Turner. Like, you got to look at this now. Like, Lacey's probably looks like he's going to be out for this game, as the way he went off at half time. Sounds like he picked up a bit of an injury. And it'd be interesting to see if Turner comes in or Lacey fills in at left centre back.
Well, it's funny you say about the injury. Did you see the discussion a Torquay fan had with Ellis on Twitter?
No.
Sent Ellis a message, literally saying something like, "Disgusting for diving." Really having a go at Ellis. Ellis replies saying, "That's why I'm sat in Torquay General Hospital waiting for stitches." And the guy replies saying, "Oh, sorry, hurt you all right." So yeah, Ellis will play with stitches, but it's just that guy's like done a complete turnaround. As, "Oh, I'm really sorry, mate."
Yeah, no, you'd really have to deactivate your account for a few days, wouldn't you, if it was you?
But back to that. You do, yeah. I know you like Sam. Personally, I genuinely feel this, that if Birchnell was to stay, I know you've said to me as well, if Birchnell lost the majority of the rest of the games, that you think he'd still be here. If that's the case, I can't see Sam playing for Notts again.
It's so strange, isn't it?
Definitely not starting. Ruben Rodriguez has, I don't know, there's another side to Rodriguez where we know he's not just a striker that you expect to score, is he? He's a midfielder that can create and score. So he's got two avenues into the side.
Yeah.
But for me, Sam's done at Notts, I think, which is sad to see. And I hope I'm wrong, because he does have those moments of brilliance.
Well. Yeah.
But yeah, back on that Enzio point as well. Has Birchnell only deployed him as a wing back so far? I think he has, hasn't he?
I think so. I don't think he's played any other formation, has he? Unless he's changed it in a game.
And then that leads me to say Brindley's on the way back as well. So not only is he going to be behind Brindley and Kelly Evans, there's no way he's playing wing back, and there's no way he's playing the only other position, just central midfielder or a striker. And I think that's sad. I think a player that got into the National League team of the season last season, on the whole, whether it's due to position changes or the way Notts have been this season, he hasn't had the best season, but he's still a player that's got to be starting for me. 100%.
Yeah. Another point as well before we sort of move on. Oh, sorry. Go on, bring that in.
No, go on. Say your point. We'll keep this on.
You know, yesterday, I didn't even notice it until later on. I think someone tweeted it. Like, we didn't actually look like we were going to give a goal away. And then Birchnell makes the substitutions. I think it wasn't the Miller, because he came on at half time, and then we carried on playing quite well. It was Griffiths and Knight. And then after that, we conceded 2 goals. So it makes me wonder.
Jim went off for the knock. I think.
Yeah, but it's the Griffiths one, I think, that is a little bit sort of, could that have changed the game a little bit?
Well, he has an opportunity to score. He has a good opportunity to score.
Yeah, yeah, but it's one of the first times I recall really this season where subs have been made and they've had not a positive impact. I'm not going to say negative, but it's not really worked, has it? Do you know what I mean? Because I feel like when subs have been made, they've been quite effective this season in terms of management. It has been quite good. So interesting to see it work the other way.
Yeah. So this has been on the screen, so you probably had time to read it. I fully agree, Chris. I think I can't gauge what type of manager Birchnell is in terms of a motivator. What is he? I don't think he's a manager that gives the players like tough love. I don't know. But you've got to be, for a squad that's now winless in 4, you've got to be telling the players to keep your head up. You know, it's been it was very, very good. And you've gone to a team like Torquay, who, fair play to Torquay, we were on this channel, we've been writing them off and saying they will falter, and they did falter. But the sign of a good team is they've come back. So we played very well for 75 minutes against a good team. On another day, the ball comes across, especially in the National League, the ball comes across your whole defence, and that guy does not volley it in first time. That's steal. He fluffs his lines, or it's a save. And the second one on another day doesn't cross the line. So, yeah, I think you've got to be very, very positive if you're Ian Birchnell or Maurice Ross, definitely.
Yeah, it's a strange one, isn't it? Because with Maurice Ross, you feel like you sort of get his personality. You can see he's a bit of a motivator, and he's a bit more of an open character. Whereas Birchnell is really hard to judge, isn't he? Personality wise, so you don't know how he's going to react to certain things, how he is as a person, sort of when the cameras are off. So yeah, it's a strange one.
Before we go on to our team, there's 2 comments. I'll flash the one up from Max first. It says Saturday shows Dawes' importance, allows Reeves and Jobs to push forward. Should he start every game, do you think, George, for the rest of the season?
Yeah, simple as that for me.
Yeah.
He has to. I mean, you're looking. Mitch said it. It just calms the whole team. It's almost like he just brings that. It's like easing everyone that he's there, and you just know that he's sort of assured. I feel like he helps the defense a lot. He helps everyone on the pitch. He's the captain, isn't he? He's been the captain all season, so missing him, he's obviously a big piece of the puzzle missing.
Yeah, I mean, he's one of those players that doesn't play well every game, but you don't know what you've missed until he's out injured, to be fair. And we saw like Jim O'Brien came in and did a really good job, but after a couple of games, you still see Doyle was missing. So we'll go on to our team. And before we go on to the team, we'll bring up what David said. David said keep the same team, but use Ruben and Brinley in the second half. Brinley, if he's fit, definitely comes on for a little bit, depending on how tight the game is, because obviously you don't want to bring a player that's not completely match sharp into a tight game.
What about Enzio? Would you bring Enzio on in the second half, David? And where would you put him?
I don't know. I think he's
anyone. Like, what would you, if we're sticking to this formation? Where would anyone play him? I'd love to know what people think.
Yeah. So we should go for our team then.
Go
for our lineup.
Yeah.
We basically don't have to go through the positions. You can basically just do the whole team in one swoop.
Yeah. So we've got Steele, obviously, coming. Kelly Evans, Rawlinson, Ellis, Chickson at left centre back instead of Turner. Barnett, left wing back.
Yeah, I think Chickson would be for Lacey if he has picked a knock up, and it was between Chickson and Turner, wasn't it, for us?
Yeah.
So I think
Chickson's just been so in form at the moment, and he's had a good run of games, so he's match sharp. So
I would sacrifice him at wing back, as harsh as it sounds, to not have Turner at centre back, and put Barnett at wing back. Sorry, carry on then.
Reeves, O'Brien, and Doyle in the middle, and then up top, Knowles and Wotton. So we've essentially kept it exactly the same, other than Lacey, obviously because he picked up a bit of a knock. We don't really know if it's long lasting or it's just precautionary. But we're going with the insight that he probably is going to be out for at least a game. I think the subs can be used a little bit better. I think it'd be nice to see Rodriguez come on, wouldn't it?
But say not so 1-0 up in this. How do you bring Rodriguez on? You don't.
Well, that's it. Yeah, you don't. It's game management, isn't it? It comes into it again. Like, well, by the same token, do you do you go put players on to shut the game out, or do you put the players on? Because I feel like
I don't think you do when confidence is low. I think when confidence is low, you do whatever it takes to win, and I don't think Rodriguez will be the right substitution. Likewise, if it's 1-0, like what David was saying about Brinley, if by some miracle knocks a 3-up, yeah, bring them both on. But if not some 1-up, I don't know. I don't even know what subs you make in that situation.
What about Knight? What do you make of Knight so far since he's come in?
Okay.
Yeah, he's been okay, hasn't he?
Good assist. I think that was in a Solihull game, wasn't it? He got a decent assist for Knowles. Pacey, impact sub at the minute. I think impact sub.
I thought he looked a lot better yesterday. Confidence-wise, he made better decisions, didn't he? Going forward, he had a bit of a spell where he runs into the box, takes a player on, and then it's just the final ball, just the keeper collects it. But better than it has been, because I think he was a bit premature with some of his shooting before that. But yeah.
Definitely. So that's our lineup, pretty much the same. I think the players that played, even Wotton, who is goalless in 10, he did earn his spot, I think, in this, because what are your alternatives? Sam, who I don't think is fancied at all, going to one up top, which to be daft to change it really too much after that. So I think it's so important to see Knowles and Wotton make a partnership as well. We need to see a partnership in the side. So we'll go on to our score predictions. Whilst we're giving our score predictions, if you want to get yours in the comments, we'll put them up just before the end of the video. So I'll go first, George, today.
Yeah,
I'm going with Eastleigh 0, Notts 1, and I'm going with our star striker, Ellis, to get the goal. I mean, to be honest, if I'm going with Ellis as the goal scorer, I've probably got a 50-50 chance, if not scored, it's going to be Ellis, because he's on fire. And he doesn't just head them in, he smashes them in, volleys them in, places them. He's so dangerous from corners. I think it's got to end. The run has to end. Four without a win, it really does have to end. And I think not go to Eastleigh. I think it's a scrappy, horrible game. I think they'll defend, we'll defend. But in the end, one side out of these will get points. I think the losing side possibly could fall too far away from the playoffs, especially Eastleigh with the games they've already played. I mean, after this game, they'll have 6 left. Notts will still have 8. But if Eastleigh lose, I think they know that it's very tough for them to get playoffs.
Yeah.
So I'm going 1. I'll flash yours up.
I've gone 2-0 Notts. I think, contrary to Tom, I think it's going to be a little bit more open than we have seen, and the stats would probably suggest. I've gone for Wotton to get 2. Call me crazy, but that drought's got to end soon.
You're crazy.
I know.
You're crazy.
No, it has to end soon. It's as simple as that. I feel like he's had the chances. He's going to get a few more chances, and I think he's going to get 2 goals. I'm really rooting for him.
Okay, so we've both gone for a win. Now against Torquay, I went for a draw, I think, and you went for a win or something like that. 2-1
win, yeah. It nearly happened until, we won't talk about it.
Yeah. Now, what are you guys saying? So Max says 2-0 with the Knowles double. Knowles capable to score. Anthony has gone 1-0 to Notts. Love to see that. And he's also added that he thinks Wotton will score. And Chris has gone for a 3-0. Wotton breaks the drought with his first hat-trick.
Me and Chris are on the same wavelength tonight. I'm loving it.
If that happens, Chris, that would be unbelievable. I'm a very big believer in law of averages and things. And the law of averages say if Wotton plays another 90 minutes, he has to score. He has to score. I mean, that's all. The mad thing is he's still in the top 10 scorers in the division. So it shows what a good player he is. We've got another one just coming from David. Notts 2-0, Ellis and Enzio. Yes, I think Ellis, you're pretty safe to say, if not score 2, there's a very good chance he's got one of the goals. And Enzio, yeah, he could comfortably come off the bench and get goals. So they are your predictions and our predictions. And we've got one more prediction just coming before we finish from Becky, who goes 4-2 Notts win. Now, I would personally be very shocked by that with the amount of goals the teams have conceded. But we also said that in a Woking preview, and it ended 4-2, so it could happen. Wotton 2, Knowles and Ellis. So a lot of people thinking Ellis will end up with a goal. Now, we've just decided in sort of the past hour that our next watch along is going to be for Saturday's game with Altrincham, haven't we, George?
Mm-hmm.
So we have a 0% win rate on our watch alongs. We lost to Chesterfield and we lost to Hornchurch, which ended up being an absolute embarrassment. We are going Altrincham on this watch along. It sets us up nicely if we got a win for Sutton, so be sure to put that in your calendar. Thank you as always for getting involved, and don't forget to like, comment and subscribe.